One farmer says, seems to me there was a tea party in Boston that was illegal too.
I have directed Secretary Connally to suspend temporarily the convertibility of the dollar into gold.
We shall seek to establish and maintain a dollar which will not change its purchasing and debt-paying power during the succeeding generation.
As anguished shrieks rose up from the floor of the New York Stock Exchange.
Government credit and government currency are really one and the same thing. A reserve of gold and a small reserve of silver.
So, and I said, well, what if it does happen? And he says, well, price will solve everything. I said, thanks, give me the gold. You know?
Why do central banks hold it? Well, it's a form of reserves. So why don't they hold diamonds? Well, it's tradition, long-term tradition.
Well, some people still think it's money.
They tried to silence us, but it's not going to work. Welcome back to the Junius Maltby Channel. Apologies for the technological glitch there. I have problems with the mouse sometimes. Well, that's just the way it is. I don't have a producer or an engineer, and I'm technologically challenged sometimes, so give me a break. We had to weed out the bots anyway. The Fed boys got bored. They're on overtime, and their budgets are getting cut. So maybe it worked. Maybe they're gone. Real quick, before we get started, thanks for tuning in to the extemporaneous ramblings of a madman, broadcasting live and unscripted here on the Junius Maltby Channel. And I want to say huge shout out and thank you to all of my channel members, but specifically tonight, TX Tractor throwing down a super chat there before we even got started. I appreciate it. Before the video even was rolling, I hadn't even said anything, but the video was broken. And you still were generous and kind. And you said, here's some profits for you to harvest, brother. Holding on to my original Junius round. I'm glad you have a Junius Maltby round. I am. I'm happy that you have one. You deserve it. Of all those out there, I'm glad that you have one in your possession. And also, again, another shout out. Thank you to Ray Finkel. Thank you, brother. We must fully fund all Somalian leering centers. I don't even know how to pronounce it though. Is it luring or leering? Yes, we should continue to fund them. You know, maybe the Somalians bought silver with all the money they stole from us. That would be cool. I would respect them if they did that. I would be like, that's a bold move, Cotton. Bold move. I hope it's paying off for you. They like treasure. They're pirates. I mean, I can kind of see what they're doing. Hey, do what you got to do. Do what you got. They're surviving, man. They're just surviving. So thank you, Ray Finkel, for the comment. Thanks for the inspiration there. Yeah, we're going to talk about a couple of things. There's a lot of rumors out there. There's a rumor of, banks collapsing because of this. I had a friend of mine call me this evening. This probably could be what might have set off the video to begin with, I guess you could say, is I had a conversation with a friend of mine earlier, and we were discussing these topics. So, G-Dub, thank you, my friend, for the super chat. He goes, if you ask me, by golly, the snapback of silver immediately after the super slam makes it obvious. $84 is not a top. This is hot. This hot action is the beginning of a new reality. Normies will have to cope. Oh, they're going to cope, but they're going to seethe. I'll get to that. Yes, the sell-off was bought up immediately. Inventories were depleted. Bullion dealers saw an insane amount of traffic. I've heard reports that places were selling out various different vehicles of silver, various rounds, different bullion bar styles, sizes, and shapes and such, just depending on demand. But it was bought up. The dip was essentially bought up rapidly. People that were waiting to buy and people that had felt like they missed the boat. Even veteran stackers were looking at it and saying, wow, this is an opportunity. And they jumped in. I know there's people out there saying sell, capture, do whatever you want to do. Again, like I said the other night, if you tuned in, I don't know why people feel so motivated to tell people one thing or the other. Like right now, I'm not telling you to sell silver. I'm not telling you got to do what you got to do. Ultimately the responsibility is always going to fall on the individual that executes the permissions of the transaction. People are going to tell you to do all sorts of things. It's your gut, your mind, it's your wealth, it's your labor. Do it. Do it. Do what you got to do. The reason the video, though, today, well, let's get to Mrs. Maltby made some artwork for today's video, so we'll just open it with that. It's an old raid poster, if you're not mistaken, and this actually was one of the reasons I actually couldn't start the video. It took me forever to figure out a way to get this thing up on the screen for you. There was a delay there, and I apologize for that. So yeah, here it is. This image, if you can see it now, I'm trying to get it up on the screen. Trademark to Mrs. Maltby here. Make bakers jump again, and then they got the signs, honk honk, do a flip, and such, and there's a banker leaping from a building. And that's where, of course, on the channel that saying was born. A lot of you, if you're new here, you're seeing MBJA, make bankers jump again. Oh, people thought that was ferocious. Oh, Junius is mean. He's telling people to push the self-delete button. Oh, my goodness. And people were losing their minds because they can't take a joke. I mean, honestly, people they take themselves too seriously. It's like, dude, shut the hell up. It's a picture. It's a picture of a honkler and some comic-like art of a guy falling off of a building in a suit carrying a briefcase. I mean, he's on the corner of Pearl Street and Wall Street. I mean, put it together. Pump your brakes. Calm down. Dude, you're getting a little worked up over this. Calm down, buddy. Don't get so worked up over the picture, okay? No. Go be gone and do your hobby. Go trade Pokemon cards, all right? Play with your action figures. Have your mom make you a sandwich and shut the hell up. That's where it was born on this channel when we say MBJA. MBJA. And that I can guarantee you MBJA was born on this channel. The saying, make bankers jump again, was born right. I remember the day. I remember when you guys were bouncing around in the chat. It was probably born in the chat. It was based on, make America great again, all that stuff. Back then it was a funny thing. And you're going to see a little bit of why I just have this animosity, if you will, I despise them, a lot of them, and who they are. And you're going to see why. Okay, we'll give you a little window into their character. Many windows. As you know, on this channel for the last decade and a half, I've called them the cokeheads of Wall Street, the bird people. There's little innuendos and things that I sprinkle here and there. There's reasons for all of it. I believe it's justified. I really don't care what other people's feelings are. It's probably not the most theologically correct position. I am human. I am flawed. I fall short in some areas, and that's one of the areas I'm weak in. I say things like that. I say things I don't, might not entirely literally mean, or I might emphasize things or wax poetically or use it as an illustration, use artistic license, whatever. I've been speaking that way since I was a kid. It's just the way it is. Some people don't like it. It got me in trouble in school. Either I've got close friends or I've got people that hate me because of the way I speak. And I'll tell you how I feel. I'll speak the truth, and I don't hide anything ever usually. So that's the way it is. That's who I am. Now, we're going to get into some of I'll get into the resume of these banks. And it's really funny to me that the list of banks that I'm reading about that are rumored, based on the conversations I've had with others, the rumors are that some of the banks named have a history of being involved in silver. Some of them, they were accused of spoofing silver. If you're not familiar with that, I don't want to skip to that point. I want to wait a minute. I'm not going to ruin it. Sometimes I ruin things. I'll always tell Mrs. Maltby I always tell her what her presents are before I give them to her, because I don't want to spoil the surprise. Let me get to the chat for a second here, though, because I see you guys are talking, and I want to make sure I'm keeping up with the chat still, because you guys are my friends. I like that. Ray Finkel says Control Alt Banker Self Delete. Is there that's again? I'm among friends here. That is how I know I have found my brethren, and those with whom I belong to be in my shuttlecraft as we go and ascend into the silver skies. See that? These are the reasons you guys are still cool and still here. It's a small channel. It's a weird group, man. We're a fringe group. There's only 90 of you here right now listening. And a lot of people just don't get it. They don't get our humor, and that's fine. But you'll see soon enough. I mean, the resume of the bankers, their track record, the damage in their wake, the things they have done. You think I'm going to cry? You think I'm going to weep if a couple of them decide to test gravity one day? I mean, come on. I don't care. It's not my problem. Look, a lot of bad things happen. Every day, innocent people. There's little kids in St. Jude's hospitals right now. I weep for them. I care for them. I don't have the emotional bandwidth to include criminals and cokeheads spending $50,000 on a lunch and $100,000 on a hooker because he shorted silver and his bank's going under, so now he's going to go leap. I mean, you think I give two shits about that? I just don't. I'm sorry. I can't. And I won't. All right? And I'm tired of pretending that we should. Okay? I just don't care. And this image got me in trouble in so many ways. But I got to go to the chat because you guys are on fire. I see a lot of colors. I've got G-Dub throwing down another super chat. And he says, Elon Musk responded, wow, to this tweet. Just in, $5 in pre-1965 dimes now contains $287 of silver. Things are getting spicy. Elon's, I think, he's a smart guy, right? He is, we know that. But I would love to know, honestly, how much he really, truly followed silver and money, the history of money and all of these things. How much does he truly know about it? Does he know how deep it goes? Does he know how far back it goes? Does he know how all of this ties together? I don't know. I don't think he does. A lot of people don't pay attention to it. But let's see, Steph Winter, 7146. Thank you for a generous and kind donation. All of you, but thank you, Stephen. He says, power to the stacker. BYOB. Be your own bank. And I like that. I like that saying. I like that a lot more than its other version. I like be your own bank. James Richter. Thank you, my good friend. He says, I don't want a lot of friends. I want good friends. And he spells it with F-R-E-N-S because that's the truest form of friend. A friend like James Richter. Just friend. F-R-E-N. And I get the reference, my friend. And James Richter, you are truly, and I say this sincerely on this channel, because you and I go way back here. You are a friend, and I appreciate you, brother. Now, so back to the image at hand. Look at it! Look at it! Look at it. That image got other channels, stacking channels, hobbyists, the sensitive types, the weak ones, the ones that are a little more, I don't know, we'll just soft. We can leave it at that. They did not like this image. And they spoke despairingly about it, about this channel, its character, its moral compass, if you will. I didn't care then. I don't care now. I'm showing it again. It was blocked. Now, back when we did Teespring and you guys could buy merch, some of you were fortunate enough to actually get merch, and raise your hand if you actually successfully did. Some of you were actually capable of getting merch with this image on it. Somehow, I don't know if it was a complaint, if they're bots. They didn't have AI back then, not that I know about. It got scrubbed. Teespring considered this a inappropriate image, and it was deleted from the site. It was gone. It was censored. I mean, you all know I've been censored on this channel quite a bit, actually. I would argue, as far as stacking channels go, I've had the most videos deleted, blocked. I've been to the Gulag. I've been to YouTube Re-Education Camp. There's a video on that. You can watch me go through the course. I lived it with you guys. I think I did. I think I went through the course with you guys live. I was like, I'm going to live stream my YouTube Re-Education Camp. So yeah, I've had videos deleted. I've been threatened. I was one video away from termination as far as strikes, one strike away. Then I got the third strike. They were going to delete the channel. I appealed that one. Somehow they let me survive it. But this video, again, is part of this image you see on the screen is part of my long lineage of being, I guess, a controversial stacking channel. And it got me in trouble with Teespring. YouTube didn't do too much. That's why you see it now, and I don't care. But yeah, I think it's funny. Honk honk, do a flip. This is the original, the hardcore version. I don't even think we had that. I think we had MBJA on a sign on one. And there's different versions of it. But anyways, let's get to why I feel the way I do. You see, it's not about the money. It's about sending a message. And I'm just here to disrupt their little plans, if you will. These schemers, these manipulators, these three-piece suit criminals, these Wall Street boys. You look a lot like my father. I hated my father. What a great character. What a great character. Now, let me get here. Okay, so we're going to go back in time. You're going to time travel with me. We're going to jump into my DeLorean. We're going to go 88 miles an hour, and we are going to travel back to about 2016, if you will. Now, years ago, when the silver squeeze, when Wall Street silver kids were still on their mom's teat, they might not have even been on their mommy's teat yet. The Wall Street silver boys, and welcome to the fold, my brethren. Glad to have you here. Glad to see you on the front lines of this war that we're in. We've been fighting it for quite some time. A lot of the guys in the chat you see are veterans. They have scars, battle scars, dating back to the Great War of 1987 when the stock market crashed. Some of these guys have battle wounds from the 99.com bubble burst. They remember when Bear Stearns went under. These are veteran warriors who have been in the trenches of sound money ideology, as I said, since you were on your mother's teat. So back in 2016, there was no silver squeeze. There was nothing to speak of as far as even the stacking community. Really, it was very small. You guys remember, tiny. It was a tiny community here on YouTube. This weird corner, this forgotten nook in the entertainment regions of the internets, the YouTube. But we were talking about silver manipulation. It was a conversation. A lot of the big silver names that I read and were following at the time were painting a very valid picture that silver prices had been manipulated. There was something going on. There was something afoot. And so silver has always been caught up in this controversy. It's historical. It goes way back. This power fight over this battlefield, this war for this metal, and people. There was people trying to acquire positions of it. There was all kinds of national strategic interests involved with it, banking interests involved. It was a huge thing, and so it makes sense that there would be, anytime money like this is involved in something this powerful, there would be some type of nefarious or conspiratorial behavior or activity. So the stacking community that was calling for that manipulation was taking place was even criticized among the stacking community. Again, the very people that are telling people to sell or to capture profits, or that inflation wasn't happening or isn't happening. People that are dollar bulls, essentially, they can't sever the tie. They can't cut the umbilical cord that attaches them to the matrix, that conduit of the fiat, the dollar. They still view dollars as this valuable or this asset or this form of wealth, money, this store of labor. And they just don't truly grasp the ideology and where it comes from, what it represents, and why we're distancing ourselves from it, and why we believe the way we do. They don't grasp the concept fully. They might grasp some of it. Some of them are like 70% there. Some are 80% there. Once you get the tiny hat connection and a little bit further, once you really dive in and get deep, then you're 100%. But when you're 100%, you're basically considered crazy or a fringe radical, far right even, a fascist, or, you know, whatever name they want to label you as. That's just, they're just words. I mean, it doesn't matter. I don't really put a whole lot of value or emphasis on what other people call me or you or us. But they didn't believe. The point is, they didn't believe that there was manipulation. They would even speak against it, thinking, oh, it's a conspiracy theory. Oh, here we go with another conspiracy theory. Get your tinfoil hats out. How did you catch that game last night? Football, sports. They were wrong. It was manipulated. And just one example, again, like anything else, like Seth Rich, like all of the various, like Hillary Clinton's emails, like the last illness we went through. I can't even say that name still on the channel. You know what I'm talking about, the vid. Like any issue, the wars, you go back and you just look at how much information, look at the fraud, look at the lies, look at the grift, the malfeasance at the government levels, the hiding of true numbers when it comes to inflation. Everything you look at, all you have to know is if it's a subject matter in which they would benefit by not telling you the truth, what do you think they're going to do? I mean, come on now. Come on, do I really have to break this down or draw pictures with a crayon for some people to get it? You really are going to believe the state? Their media outlets, their politicians, these people that lie literally every single day, and every day that you tune in now, if you see anything at all, if you're paying any form of attention, you're realizing now the gravity, the level of dishonesty, deceit, the lies that these people perpetuate and use. And it's not just the act of lying and bearing false witness. They're lying to cover up high crimes, theft, murders, wars, fraud, embezzlement, lists of vices that are innumerable. Human trafficking, the trafficking of children. I mean, the information coming out now that the Democrat Party was hiring foreign state actors and intelligence agencies to commit acts against this country under the Obama administration. There are so many things coming out now. It's mind-numbing, and that's what it is. It's actually, as a matter of fact, I need to interrupt this point because I need to share this with you. I believe it would be important and it would behoove me to interject a certain quotation here, and I just need to find it. So can you just bear with me? I interrupted myself, but let me find it. Here it is. I need to read this quote. I found it, I believe, so just bear with me for a second. And while I pause, Ray Finkel, thanks for the super chat, my friends. Trust the official narrative at all times. Yes, support the current thing. Support the current thing at all times. And that's what you're going to find a lot of people do, even in the stacking community. And we'll get to that further here in a minute. But let me read this to you. This is a quote from George Orwell. A society drowned in information can be controlled as effectively as one starved of it. George Orwell. Here's another one by Theodore Adorno. When thinking becomes exhausting, conformity becomes to feel like relief. Theodore Adorno. Those are two quotes that I wanted to share here because when everything is loud, nothing is questioned. Overload replaces censorship, fatigue replaces fear, and surrender starts to feel like rest. Control no longer needs silence, it only needs exhaustion. And that came from Think and Exist, that post, and that was sent to me by I believe it was my dad the other day that actually sent me that. So you can thank old Mr., I guess you guys could call him Grandfather Maltby. To you guys, he'd be like your grandfather, your father. So the information overload, I get it. And I get it if some people become so overwhelmed they just can't see all of these things that are taking place. But now let's go through time. We've done the 88 miles an hour. We're back in 2016. And it began to surface that there was this situation which was called spoofing. I've had to read the definition. Believe me, I've not memorized the definition of spoofing. It's like selling out the front door, buying in the back door. These big banks were setting up trades for silver. And at the same institution, one would initiate a buy order, one would initiate a sell order. The one would initiate the sell order to impact price or vice versa, and they would benefit in the middle with whatever the difference was. One would cancel the order after it moved the price, and then the same institution could execute their transaction at a price they changed via that mechanism. If that makes any sense at all. I might have screwed up here or there with it, but I think it's a pretty okay understanding of that. Now, Deutsche Bank, the reason I say Deutsche Bank is because of this. Where is it? Come on. Where's the post? Here it is. I got to get to this. Now, this is the rumor. This is what's boiling. This is what's cooking. We'll time travel back again. We're going back and forth, 88 miles an hour. Get in the DeLorean. Get to the DeLorean. I'd like to hear Arnold Schwarzenegger say, instead of get to the chopper, get to the DeLorean. Get to the DeLorean. We're time traveling. We're going back to the future. So we're gonna go back here in a minute, but this is again Tyler Durden, a famous post from it escapes me. What's his big website? Come on now. You have to pay. It's got a big paywall now. I used to share his stuff on here all the time. Typically, the guy's got access to some pretty interesting information, but you know the name. Anyways, I know the name of the bank that went under. That was an X tweet from him. Zero Hedge, that's it. I always forget the name. Zero Hedge. Thanks for reminding me. And that was Greg Trainer. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Catching me when I fall, brother. That's right. Zero Hedge. That's the site. Good article. Sometimes they get information earlier than anybody. I mean, they've broke some incredible news in the past. And he's saying he knows the name of the bank that went under, but he's not saying it. So we know that a bank went under. There's a lot of rumors that this happened because of the silver situation, silver short positions. Rewind it a little bit if you've been paying attention this week and if you've been tuned into the Junius Maltby Channel. We talked about it the other day. And we've seen now the estimates are 20 to 30 is what I'm reading now. 20 to 30 billion dollars in losses. 20 to 30 billion with a B, US dollars in losses. These financial institutions have taken a hit in shorting silver. So, if you remember, what was the bailout back in 2008 when Benjamin Bernanke and Hank Paulson. Do you remember when they were standing out there? Hank Paulson just looked like somebody butchered his mom in front of him. I remember his eyes were just saucers. The guy staring into the camera had that 1,000-yard stare of fear. And again, my little brethren, the Wall Street silver community, you might have been on your mom's teat when that took place, but let me tell you, it was quite a remarkable spectacle to see the Treasury Secretary looking like he was staring down a roaring lion. And Benjamin Bernanke, the Fed chair, just in fear as the economy's unraveling. TX Tractor Life, thanks for the super chat. He goes, I'm buying platinum. White metals matter. I'm not into platinum, buddy. I would just go silver on that. That's me, though. That's just me. You do you. Now, back then, what was the bailout? Was it $750 billion or whatever they thought to get to rescue the banks? But it all got triggered with smaller amounts of capital, setting off a cascade of economic damage. And so a lot of these things are leveraged and tied to things. There's also, you know how Wall Street works, bets upon bets upon bets. I'm betting that guy's bet, that guy's bet, that guy's bet, that the bet that he bet on the other bet is going to be a good bet. And so I get 10x on all those bets in between, something like that. It's insanity. It's crazy, but that's how it works. So you might have a dollar here, a dollar there, but at the end of the day, each one of those dollars as they move translates into hundreds or thousands of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars in losses somewhere else. They've created quite the machine there, this engine of greed over there in Wall Street. So this impact, this 20 or 30 billion with a B dollars, that it's coming from someone. We know they had short positions. That's a fact. That is a fact. It's posted. That's like public. A lot of it's public information. Some of it's not. Like certain positions or how much, and certain banks and certain financial institutions have hidden shorts on silver that are not and do not require to be disclosed. That's why we know it's even bigger than what is disclosed. We know, according to the numbers and the honest math that's out there, it's estimated that there was like 79,000 to 100 or 150,000 contracts shorting silver, each contract representing 5,000 ounces, every dollar move representing $5,000 per contract. We know that silver moved $50. We know that it's being bought more with arbitrage now in foreign markets. Apparently, and this is a fact coming straight out of Dubai tonight from a buddy who's over there. I got a buddy in the oil fields. He's not just a grunt. This guy is like one of the top guys that repairs wells in the most remote regions of the world for the biggest oil companies in the world. He's like that guy. He's a friend of mine. He's that guy that they call when they have a problem. Hey, Batman, we have an oil well that needs to be fixed. You're the man. Go fix it. He can fit, and that's what he does. So he's in Dubai all the time. Calls me up tonight. Says, silver is trading right now, every day on the market here today. This is today. $95 transactions repeatedly happening. People, it's being devoured at $95 US, and they're pegged to the dollar over there. $95 an ounce spot. We know that in the Shanghai markets or whatever over in China and such, we're seeing every day now reports, and it's still happening, $82, $84 per ounce. So what does that mean in US dollars? That's what they're buying it for. Where do you think the metal's going to go? That's just the way the free market works, dude. It's like drugs for that. I mean, you could talk to any drug dealer, any cartel guy could tell you that that's where the silver's going to flow at that point. They're gobbling it up, and they're paying more. The price suppression is not working. It's breaking down the futures markets. None of it's working. The mechanisms, the gears, the cogs, these guys threw like a giant wrench into it, and now you're hearing clanking sounds. Their machine is out of tune, out of time. All right, it's got a click, and that is the engine breaking. They wore it out. They put too many miles on it, and so there is arbitrage taking place. We know that. These numbers are real. The contracts these people held, these short positions, that was real. We know that to be true. Now, it would only make sense. It's the way the markets work that with those types of losses, banks are going to have a problem, especially if they weren't prepared for it, or they bet it was going to go the other way. If they cried broke and needed bailouts for just the losses they suffered during housing, you can imagine what this might be doing to some of their balance sheets. It's going to affect things. You cannot pretend that it's not at this point. My buddy today that called me is not a silver stacker, not a big one. He used to, a lot more so. He is a crypto bro. I'll admit it. He's a good dude though. Doesn't take anything away from him. He still has metals. He's also a heavy crypto bro. He's very knowledgeable in economics. He studies and reads this stuff probably more than I do. And that's not a lie. He used to trade in the markets as well. He has essentially, I mean, his eyes are open to a point now where he is blown away because he believed in silver a little bit. But now he's talking now in ways like when he talks about where he thinks silver's going, he thinks the lid's coming off. He thinks something's blowing up. He thinks something happened, something broke. He was sharing a lot of his views on this, and I can just tell you that he's extremely bullish. He's a very bullish dude. And he was not. I can tell you right now, last year, 6 months ago, this guy was not even remotely bullish on silver. He thought silver was going to be $30 an ounce for the rest of his life. He believes, based on what he's thinking, that the two banks he mentioned potentially culprits in this, Deutsche Bank, that's why I brought them up, USBC, I believe, or UBS, and UBS. One of them is the one that had the biggest problem here. Estimates being 20 to 30 billion in losses potentially. They're collapsing on the wrong side of the silver trade. He's hearing things over there regarding this topic of conversation because I'm not the only person he discusses these matters with. I mean, this is a guy that hangs out with like Saudi sheiks and stuff. But silver and arbitrage right now in Dubai and China is forcing banks to fail, essentially. That is a premise. That is part of the backdrop I believe we're existing in right now. I think it is happening. He thinks silver is going to be like $300 within 5 years or something. He has numbers. He has ideas. But it's about time. I mean, I hope so. But let's get back to the information here as we explore if it's time to jump or not. Now, let me get, where'd my mouse go? Here it is. Oh, there's the, okay. So back in time, let's go back to 2016, back when Wall Street silver was still on its mom's teat. Deutsche Bank that's why I do hope it's them. I hope Deutsche Bank completely goes under and they're packing their desks tonight. Back then, they had to pay a $38 million fine. Didn't even cover probably how much they manipulated, how much damage they did. This is just a penalty fine. They pay this. They probably knew they were going to get a fine. They made so much money off of these trades, they don't even care. Fines like that. It's a cost of doing business. It's like a parking ticket, you know. They had to pay $38 million to settle U.S. litigation over allegations it illegally conspired with other banks to fix silver prices at the expense of investors, according to court papers filed on Monday. The settlement, disclosed in papers, now this is what they settled at. They wanted this to go away. You know, like only one guy ever got convicted of this too, right? Some traitor. He said his entire floor, his entire desk, and all their bosses were doing it. They all knew they were doing it. They were ordered to do it. But they needed a fall guy. It's like the mafia. So they had to send one of their little cokehead brethren who's not going to rat. He didn't rat. They sent him to prison for a little bit, some white-collar jail. He played golf. They fed him like steak, T-bone steak dinners. He had cable. He wore silk boxers. He got to shower with like organic soaps by himself. One of those types of jails. He spent like probably 6 months there. That's it. Meanwhile, you know, people were scraping by. Real bullion dealers were probably suffering. Traders were suffering. Some little old lady that had to sell some for retirement because she was eating cat food and her husband died, left her a monster box. You know, she had to sell it $20 an ounce rather than the real price, what it should have been, which was probably $100 or $200 or $300 or $400 or $500 an ounce. And so that happened because of the manipulations of these banks. That's why if they jump, I just don't care. And you can save the broadcast of your what am I looking for here? What's the word, Mrs. Maltby? The phrase when someone tries to broadcast how holy or great they are, their empathy, their virtue signaling. That's what I'm looking for. You can save the virtue signaling. You know, save that for someone who gives a shit. I mean, I don't care if my image offends you, if my position on bankers leaping and exploring gravitational pull as a last-ditch, you know, self-delete moment. I just don't care. I don't care. It doesn't bother me. Okay? They hurt a lot of people. Okay? These guys, they operate financial weapons of mass destruction. Weapons of mass economic destruction. They ruin lives. All right? They're deviants. They're degenerates. So if you agree with that, yeah, slap the MBJA down in the chat. Give me a round of MBJA. Make bankers jump again, because nobody cares. Nobody cares. All right. So the settlement disclosed in papers filed in Manhattan federal court came in one of many recent lawsuits. Again, this is back in 2016, October, in which investors accused the banks of conspiring to rig rates and prices in financial and commodities markets. The settlement had been expected since April. Blah, blah, blah. Let's get back to litigation. Deutsche Bank, HSBC, Bank of Nova Scotia, Scotiabank. They rigged silver prices through a secret daily meeting called the Silver Fix and accused US AG of exploiting that fix. The alleged conspiracy started in 1999. This is 2016 when this came out. These guys were doing this for 16 freaking years probably. And they're probably doing something similar now. They have just a different way or a way of doing it. But for 16 years, these guys were beating the hell out of silver. Truly, beating the hell out of it. Day in and day out. While you were sleeping, they were doing it. And they suppressed prices on roughly $30 billion worth of silver and silver financial instruments traded each year. So pardon me if they lost $30 billion this year. You know what this is? It's called justice. This is called the universe unfolding as it should. What's done in darkness coming to light. Okay? It's just beautiful. It's just beautiful. $30 billion of silver and silver financial instruments traded each year, and enabled the banks to pocket returns that could top 100% annualized. They were raping silver for profit, and you guys in the process. And people want me to feel sorry for them. People think I'm being mean. Jubius is being mean. Jubius is being mean. Okay, buddy. Do you need a tissue? Ask Erica Kirk if she's got a tissue. Maybe she could dab your eyes for you. I'm sorry that I'm grieving your spirit, brother. Do a flip, please. Do a flip. Deutsche Bank put its seat on the silver price setting processes up for sale in January 2014. The 117-year-old practice was disbanded altogether in August that year. Anyways, a lot of news on this. I've got a couple articles pulled up. I'm not going to read them all. Big banks and the silver surge, rumor versus reality. That's the new one. I want to go to the other one. Sorry. That's from current. Let me go forward with that one here. Here you go. From fixed to fraud, silver price manipulation by UBS and Deutsche Bank. This is a big piece here. This is a good article. Another one just, showing you that this wasn't in your head back then. This wasn't in your head. Silver market was dogged by allegations of price manipulation due to silver's relatively small market size, volatile price swings. There was a, again, I can scroll through this quickly, spoofing, collusion, and the 11 o'clock rule. Among the most incriminating pieces of evidence were chat logs revealing direct communication between UBS and Deutsche Bank traders. According to court filings, these traders coordinated trades, shared customer order flow, and engaged in spoofing. Quote, this is a deceptive tactic where traders place orders they intend to cancel to manipulate prices. The goal was simple: shift the market in their favor to extract profits, regardless of the damage to other market participants. And then one of the more well-documented practices was the so-called 11 o'clock rule, in which UBS and Deutsche Bank traders agreed to short silver at exactly 11 a.m. The plan involved timing their trades with a synchronized countdown. As one UBS trader wrote, "If 53 breaks Imam, go guns blazing." They have unfiltered chats. This is just, it's in your face that these guys were absolutely on coke shorting silver, and there's nothing you're going to do about it. So again, pardon me if I don't care if these banks are the ones going under, if these guys are going to go hungry, if these guys are going to get sent packing. If their bank goes under, I don't care. I don't care if their wife leaves them, if the guys, I just don't care. I don't care what happens to these guys. I don't give a shit. There's way too many things that I got to give a shit about in life, and I can't expend much of that onto these guys. I just don't care. Well, Junius, you shouldn't joke about it. I just did. I still am. You can go ahead and make a video about it. I don't care. Go virtue signal. Call your mom. These guys deserve it. 100% they deserve it. They got what's coming to them. So now there's rumors versus reality. You saw the thing I showed you by Tyler Durden from Zero Hedge. Banks struggling. Silver trade posted report major bullion bank collapses after silver shorts liquidated. I've got the article pulled up. I'll show you one of the ones that's making the rounds. A lot of it started with Hal Turner's post on Hal Turner's article. I've got that. I'll show it to you. It's been recirculated. Most of you have probably seen it. People are saying that of course, you guys remember they shut the trading down, right? Remember the commodities paused when silver was exploding that day? Do you remember that? Brief pause, like an hour or so. It just went down. They had a glitch in the system. They stopped trading. Ladies and gentlemen, if you think that was an accident, if you really truly believe there was some guy was sweeping the floors of the New York Stock Exchange and tripped over an extension cord and threw a breaker, or a mouse chewed through a wire, if you believe anything other than that was executed on purpose, you're retarded. I'm just going to say it how it is. If you don't believe that was done on purpose, you're mentally retarded and you should not be allowed to vote. And none of your opinions on anything ever hold any merit or value whatsoever. I don't want to hear from you. You don't need to leave a message. You don't need to text me. You don't even need to comment in the chat. There's no reason to converse with you. Okay? Your mental capacity, your synapse speed, your observation skills, your ability to detect patterns shows that you are a lower mammal. Okay? Pattern detection is survival. Now, would they hide this? I'm going to ask you, would it be within their interests to try to cover this up or do damage control to hide that this is taking place? The answer is of course. Of course it is. A giant major bank going under because of a silver short position and the paper markets blowing up would have rippling ramifications. They're doing damage control. They're trying to figure out what to do before the news really gets out. Tyler Durden already said he's got the name of the bank. He knows. I don't think he's going to put his reputation on that and not know. Maybe he did. But I'm telling you, I'm based on what we know, what we've seen, behaviors past, what these people do, what they're capable of, the trouble they've gotten themselves in previously. Are you kidding me? Of course there's a bank in trouble. The numbers can't lie. We know their position. They had short positions. Did they not? Silver did or did not move from 30 to 79 in USD. Is there or is there not arbitrage taking place in foreign markets? Did the previous dip that we just experienced get bought up almost instantaneously? Yes. All of that is true. Well, if they suffered financial damage because of this, and if they continue to, because every dollar move results in a $5,000 change in the contract price per contract. Okay, do the math. Do the math on 79,000 contracts. That's the lowest end. Do the math. Just do it. 79,000 times 5,000 times $1. Every time it moves a buck, that's the lowest amount they're losing. And they're still losing. They've been losing. They're going to have to cover. They're getting blown up by it. This is like a torpedo out of nowhere, man. They just, B-12 hit, I just sunk your battleship, bro. It's over for them, if that's the case. And they're trying to cover it up. They can't let it out there because, again, there would be a rush. You wouldn't be able to buy silver. I think it would get to a point, if it went full-scale, uncontained conflagration of this situation, if the dominoes began to tip at a velocity that they could not get in front of them, I believe, and I say this with conviction right now as I sit here behind this mic, if that truly was that uncontained and that blew up that bad, I truly believe you would not be able to buy physical silver. I don't think any of you in the chat would be able to make that trend, to go out and find it and get it for fiat. I think the supply would be gone. I think the price will solve everything, right? I think the price would be such that it'd be prohibitive for most people to acquire a full ounce at that point. Your average person to just go out and just buy an ounce right there. Not only that, I don't think there'd be a lot of people selling for that. We'll see. We'll see if that happens. I don't know. Ray Finkel, silver stacking is anti-symmetric. It is. It's very antiseptic, anti-citrus, anti-symmetric behavior. Ultimately, if you follow it to the true end, it truly is. And if you're not antiseptic, sell your metal, hold fiat. And most of the guys that are telling people to sell right now to capture their profits, they would say, oh, I'm not antiseptic. Yeah, I believe in the dollar. I like the dollar. I like where it comes from. I like who issues it. I like what it represents and everything about it. I lick my dollars. I eat them. I smell them. I sleep with them. I like the AIDS-riddled feces and the urine. I like the cocaine that's embedded in the fibers. I just love how dirty they are. I like the germs, the microorganisms. It's funny how silver's bacteriostatic and a dollar is covered in bacteria, isn't it? It's as almost as if the universe itself created that allegory, as if it was meant to be. One is clean. One is truly antiseptic. Think of that. Silver's antiseptic. By its very nature. Think of that. Think of that for a moment. Ponder it. Ponder it. Grind those words within your mind. Silver is antiseptic. So these banks are struggling. We know, okay. We know that. Okay. Now, whether or not one collapsed, that's the big question. Durden thinks he knows the name. Moving on, I'll read this for you. Silver crashed 5%. You panicked. Meanwhile, Shanghai kept buying at $82 while your screen showed 72. Same metal, same hour, $10 gap. That gap did not close during the crash. Again, this is a tweet I'm reading you. It widened. You are not watching a market sell-off. You are watching a paper market get divorced from physical reality in time. CME raised margins twice in 17 days, right into holiday liquidity when nobody can wire funds. Leveraged longs got slaughtered by design. This is not price discovery. This is position liquidation masquerading as a crash. The Chinese are not stupid. They see 72 on the screen and bid 82 anyway, because they know something you do not. Paper settles in cash. Factories settle in metal. One price is negotiable. One price is survival. Friday morning export controls go live. 72 hours from now, the arbitrage windows slam shut. You think you just saw a top? Again, think of the people telling you to sell right now. You think you just saw a top? You just saw the last shakeout before the Western price is forced to catch up to the Eastern one. The screen lied to you today. Shanghai told the truth. Read the whole story here, and it's on his Substack, which is The Argentum Inflection by Shinaka Anselm Pereira. And he's got a paywall, though. So I got his sentiment, just showing you the page, showing you the source, showing you where it came from. That piece there. Now, major bank, U.S. Bank blows up from silver trade. Headline hides the $675 million margin shock currently hitting traders. Again, more of that news, more screenshots from Hal Turner's article, more discussion. Major U.S. Bank liquidated at 2:47 a.m. Claim trail goes cold fast. Some people saying, well, there's not a lot of evidence of it. But a ton of articles discussing this. People claiming they have the name. People saying they know. People saying it's being hidden. Here's the original Hal Turner article. Systemically important bank collapse at 2:47 a.m. Sunday. The reports are concealing the name of the bank. Okay, I'll just read from the beginning. I'm not going to read the whole thing because it's quite lengthy. But let me get it on the screen better for all of you. As the story is written, it is 11:01 a.m. Eastern U.S. time on Sunday, December 28th. Reports have been coming in claiming, quote, a systemically important bank, a major player in silver futures, failed to pay its margin call by 2 a.m. and was liquidated by the futures exchange at 2:47 a.m. Eastern U.S. time, unquote. The reports are concealing the name of the bank, but it is confirmed that overnight the Federal Reserve was forced to pump another $34 billion into the banking system through its emergency overnight repo facility. If you recall, recently they opened up the QE windows again, right? Now, again, I don't know if that's a coincidence. I don't know if pattern recognition plays in here. But it's very interesting that quantitative easing, something they've used during emergency times of the economy. If the economy is doing so well, so good, why do we have QE? The only reason, what was the original intent? When did we have QE before? Well, it was during a state of extreme economic duress and crisis. Banks were going under. Remember that? Every Friday, used to report it on this channel. Banks were tipping over every Friday. All the time, banks were tipping over. Now, why would they resurrect QE recently? They just, you're talking what, 2 weeks ago? The Fed came out and started it up again? Right when this starts? And then we see there's been multiple rumors about these billions of dollars having to be pumped into the banks. $34 billion on top of the $17 billion, which was pumped in 2 days prior on Friday morning. So billions of dollars flowing into the banks. The bank involved is described as one of the largest players in the precious metal derivatives market. It blew past every risk limit, breached every covenant, and exhausted every line of credit. Bank is further described as having been massively short on silver. We're talking massive positions numbering in the hundreds of millions of ounces. Hundreds of millions of ounces. So 100 million ounces, every dollar moves 100 million bucks. It moved 50. 50 bucks this year. Hundreds of millions. You talk, again, these guys have lost billions upon billions of dollars. The report goes on to say that over the last 36 hours, okay, hold on. According to the information coming in, when silver broke 70, the bank received a margin call from a commodities exchange which exceeded their liquid capital. Further told the clearinghouses gave them until Sunday morning to post $2.3 billion in additional cash collateral. The report goes on to say that over the past 36 hours, the bank executives frantically tried to raise cash. The bank executives. Do a flip. Do a flip for me. Come on. They tried to frantically raise cash. They reportedly called their counterparties. They tried to sell assets. They begged for bridge loans, and nobody helped them. According to the reports, these guys were on the phone all night. The report goes on to say that over the past 36 hours, the bank executives frantically tried to raise cash. They reportedly called their counterparties. They tried to sell assets. They begged for bridge loans. Nobody helped them. Nobody helped them. And good. Nobody should have helped them. It's time to fall. It's time to pay the piper. According to the reports, every major bank on Wall Street looked at the bank's derivatives book and saw the bank was already dead. They just hadn't stopped moving yet. If these reports prove to be factual, and I have no confirmation yet, the fall of this systemically important bank will have immediate repercussions throughout the entire banking system. You see, a systemically important bank is a counterparty to many other banks in certain financial contracts, such as derivatives, if you know how tangled up those can be. If the counterparty fails, all those derivatives contracts are now failed. So guys, that's why I said earlier, that dollar turns into hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars. So this bank goes under, the dominoes start to fall. This is big. That is why it would behoove them. And can you blame them, really? I mean, truly, can you blame them from wanting to have a little more time before the pandemonium, before all hell breaks loose, before the truth comes out? Can you really blame them if you had the ability to squelch the information and you'd benefit from it? Think about it. These guys don't have any morals, no scruples. You think they care about you? Empathy, sympathy. You think they know about you? If you starved to death tomorrow in the gutter, malnourished, anemic, gaunt, pale, and jaundiced, with sunken eyes and flies buzzing around your head, like you're some kid in South Sudan on the cover of a National Geographic magazine, do you think they would give a shit? No. An AP photographer would take your photograph, get an award for it, you'd be dead. And these guys, if they made $5 off of it, that's the bottom line, man. It's all about GDP and stock prices, dude. They don't care if you starved to death in a gutter. So again, back to Mrs. Maltby's artwork that's so controversial, so immoral, and so depraved. Do you really think I care that this image hurts some people's feelings? Yeah, there's half a dozen stacker channels out there that thought this was just over the top. Junius has gone too far. He's mean. He's an angry little elf. Well, I'm 6'2", and I'm like 185 pounds, so I'm not little. But I am angry. I'm definitely angry. I'm pissed off. You should be too. Oh, you should be too, my friend. Yeah. They just can't handle it. You can't handle the truth. They can't. They just can't handle the truth. And not everybody can. You can't blame people for not being able to handle it. Some people just want to be in the Matrix. They want to eat their steak. They want to watch the lady in the red dress walk by and believe that it's all real. Well, once you unplug from the Matrix, it's quite difficult to get back in. And you guys don't want to. I can tell. I can see it. I can see it in the sincerity of your messages. You're here because you've actually unplugged from it. You know what's going on. You understand the ideology of precious metals and sound money. You know that it's not just a hobby. You're not just collecting little silver discs with some stupid images stamped into it. You're not going for that MS-70 collector's piece where they only struck 50,000 of them. Those are freaking cool to have. They're awesome. But that's not why you're here. You're here because you volunteered. You volunteered to be a combatant in an ideological unit. The ideology of sound money stackers. Probably the most fringe and smallest group out there of all the little cliques that would exist upon the internet.
Zoom in on that guy. Can you do that?
I will. Can you just read that chat, Mrs. Maltby, because I'll zoom in while you read G-Dub's super chat.
It's not obvious to normies yet, but I'm proud to be in this group of based, non-brainwashed, critical thinkers, early to the hole. They are stealing our wealth through inflation game. God bless.
And thank you, G-Dub, for the super chat. Mrs. Maltby wanted me to zoom in for you guys so you can see a little bit more detail on the image here. Honk honk on the sign. Do a flip. I actually told her to write something else, but she didn't, and it's probably right. We probably would have gotten that deleted. It said do a flip, and there was an expletive. It started with an F. It's like a small French cigarette. Do a flip, small French cigarette. But
I've been responsible for a few strikes on Teespring.
I was going to have her spell it
so
like with symbols, make like an F and then the @ symbol, maybe a couple and symbols, maybe a 0 and a plus symbol.
I'll never forget the email I got from Teespring where they said they shut the whole thing down.
Yeah, Teespring was like, yeah, you guys can't sell your stuff on here. Sorry.
That was during the vid year.
Well, I can guarantee you the people on Teespring, a bunch of purple-haired, they probably they go to surgery, they take hormones, they do this, they do that. You know the type.
Jeff Elwell probably bought the shot glass, and they were packaging the order, and they were like, "Holy shit!"
Jeff Elwell might have the only merch with that image on it.
I imagine they waddled over to their computer.
Jeff, that stuff's probably you realize you have like a one-off that they're never going to make that again. You have something that's probably worth $1 billion. the original MBJA shot glass. Where else was I? 8 banks versus U.S. silver squeeze, $50 billion bailout rumor swirl. What happens when traders paper short? Here we go. I want to get this one up too. Hold on a second. It's so hard to operate this thing by myself. I need staff. I need someone that can do these things for me. I need a studio. It's very difficult to be an engineer and a producer and the guy. And Mrs. Maltby wandered off, and she hasn't even made me tea. So you guys know the rule. You know the drill. Write in the chat, Mrs. Maltby, make Junius mint tea. Put a kettle on, will you? Tell her, say, put a kettle on. Woman, put a kettle on. I'm the only one that's allowed to call her woman, though. You guys might want to be more respectful. 8 banks versus silver squeeze as $50 billion bailout rumors swirl. What happens when traders paper short a finite asset like Bitcoin? Question mark. This was published 13 hours ago. And apparently, again, discussions on CFTC report showing banks shorting silver. 212 million ounces in Coin's silver futures as of December 2nd across 22 banks, not 8. I got to do the math on that. Pardon me, I'm going to do some math. If it's 212 million times, I'm just going to do 50. That would be 10.6 billion there. But again, some of these losses are leveraged or on derivatives and such. I've seen so many different numbers on how many billions. It's just billions. It's a lot of money. It's more than we got. Do a flip. Here's a good one. This is a post apparently from a billionaire. I'll read this to you guys. I got this the other day from a David Bateman. I'm a barely-ionaire. I bought 1.5% of the 2025 silver mining output. So think of it. This guy bought 1.5% of all the silver mined in 1 year. This guy. There are 500 plus billionaires worth more than $5 billion. Far more than me. What happens, this guy says. What? And I've said this for years on this channel. Listen to this. What happens when 10% of them do what I did as fiat starts to fail in 2026? Billionaires have 2 easy options to protect themselves from what's coming. Gold and silver. Take your pick. Is that what's happening? Back before COVID, I reported on this channel to you guys clearly. The wealthy elite, for the first time, were making significant moves to vault privately physical delivery of metals and taking delivery and vaulting it privately themselves. The billionaire class was doing this, again, while you were sleeping, 7, 8, 9 years ago even now, some of them. It's been on this channel. I've been talking about this for years, over a decade, when Wall Street silver was on their mother's teat. The teat. They were still on the teat. Some of them not even have been discharged yet. And this was going on. So I want you to, we're merely at a point in this, we're at a culmination of things, a termination. How long this plays out, these war games, I don't know. But I can tell you right now, we're seeing activity take place now that's again, hasn't been seen in a long time. I'm going to save that video for another time. Hasn't been seen. We haven't seen this before. We're seeing silver move in amounts that have never been witnessed before. We saw a record-breaking day, the biggest day in the history of silver priced in USD. You guys witnessed it. I witnessed it. We talked about it. We shared it here. We celebrated. But there's more to it than that. It's more than just price moves. It's more than silver just running $5, $10, going to 300, going to 600, going to 1,000, whatever. It's about a systemic breakdown. It's about the destruction of fiat. It's about the end of the fiat empire. It's about a decline in American influence and hegemony. It's about economic changes that are most likely beyond our comprehension in ways. So it's not just simply the rise of silver prices. It's not about capturing profits. Capture profits. Please, cue the Dave Ramsey emojis, my friends. Capture profits. Sell your silver. Shut up, boomer. This is much bigger than that. There's things unfolding, things taking place, and things that will take place and come as a result of the present time that are going to be challenging. Capturing profits. There might come a day where you're not even measuring wealth in silver and dollars. I don't even measure it that way now, truly. You might do anything for a couple of hot meals and a working functioning carbine. I mean, to me, a working functioning carbine, I would give all of the silver I had if I didn't have one to replace it. Honestly. Because to me, it's a lifeline. It's an imperative tool. It's an implement of survival. It's a lot of reasons for it. But the world's changing. It's evolving. Things are coming. Things are happening. I don't know where it ends up. Who knows? Nobody does. I mean, truly, nobody can say they know. There's nobody that has that type of foreknowledge. But I can tell you that silver is a good position to be in. You should be confident in your silver position, unwavering in your silver position. And you should sleep well on it. Don't lose sleep over capturing profits, and don't lose sleep over price fluctuations and drops. The other night, we talked about the differences between now and 1980, and I probably predicted it. I don't watch those channels, the ones you're talking about, the ones you're quoting. Someone mentioned them above in the very beginning of this video. They don't even ring a bell. I could imagine they're quoting 1980. Silver Thursday, $40 drop, that's coming, that could happen. I shared with you on the last video, the one just prior to this one, the major key factual differences between this particular time in silver's history and the time in 1980. I don't need to repeat myself here. If you want to, go watch that video. It's in the last one. And listen to the part we talk about the major differences between today and yesterday and then. The Soggy Pineapple, thanks for the super chat. He goes, the time is near. Prepare accordingly. Absolutely. Prepare. You got to prepare on all fronts for all things. Have contingency plans. Have plans within plans. No one's coming to bail you out. No one's coming. It's up to you. Again, and every transaction decision that you make is yours alone. You got to own it. You got to live with it. You got to live with it. You sell, you sell. If you're going to, you take that off-ramp into fiat land, there might not be an on-ramp, and you might not make it out of the ghetto that you drive through. Does that make sense? Can you picture that for me? Can you bounce that image around upside down in your little head there? Think about it. You take the off-ramp of silver. I'm going to exit here. I'm exiting here on Fiat Avenue. Oh, this neighborhood looks pretty poor. What's going on in here? Oh, shoot, they're burning tires. What's that over there? That's a Somalian daycare. That guy's got an RPG! I mean, that's how it ends up. No, I'm not taking exits, I'm on the interstate. I'm on cruise control. I'm going where I'm going. I don't care about fiat. Keep your fiat. Keep it. You keep it. And how about this? You keep your dollars. I'll keep my metal. How about that? All right? It's not for sale. I'm not selling. I'm not effing selling. Like the meme. All right, ladies and gentlemen. That concludes tonight's broadcast here on the Junius Maltby Channel. I see there's 185 of you still viewing. That's actually remarkable. I'm glad you're here. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. If you really want to see good content, become a member, because the members-only videos are about 80-1, the ones that are actually up and listed for you to watch. So you can go through the archives, see some of the more hardcore content, I guess, or whatever you want to call it. But thanks for tuning in. Thanks for being part of the Junius Maltby Channel, and a tremendous shout out to the channel members. You see them. They're the ones with the comments that have a coin after their name. Members here of the Junius Maltby Channel. Some of them members for a long time. Some of them subscribed since this day this channel was born. Way back when. I know some of you very well. Your names are very familiar to me. And over the years, we've lost thousands of subscribers, hundreds this year and last. Usually more than I gain. That's fine. People don't like the old Junius who's hardcore or extreme or radical or far right, whatever whatever label they throw at me. It doesn't matter. It's just labels, names, categories. I don't care. They don't mean anything. I don't lose sleep over it. I didn't come here to make friends. All right. I didn't come here to get views. I didn't come here to get monetized or channels, whatever, anything. It wasn't about any of that. It was about, again, it was about the message. That's what it was about. If I really cared about viewers, subscription base, revenues, and all of these things, you really think I'd just be a voice on the other side of a screen? You think I'd show up here and just speak from the heart for the fun of it? You think I'd log in and make video after video, follow your comments, edit stuff? No. What brings me back is you guys. And the fact that it's a message I truly, truly believe needs to get out there. That some people are only now just discovering, and I encourage them to keep digging. And I'm glad they're here. They need to be. It's important. Thank you, Micah Robinson. Thank you. Appreciate the super chat. He goes, you will know it's sober when they stop taxing real money for sale. Absolutely. No, my friends, from the very beginning, this was about the conversation, the ideology of precious metals. It wasn't about a hobby. It was about the message. You guys get it. At this point, you already get it. You already know. There's nothing more for me to pass on to you. And that's why now we just discuss the news, essentially. It's all been outlined. I've done video after video. All the material's there. It's in the archives. It's in the channel's history. You can find it. You can see it. So thanks for being here, my friends. Thanks for using the emojis that Mrs. Maltby works to make for you. Thank you for being enjoyers of this more radical realm of the stacking community. There's only a few of us. We're a small number. But I believe we make a difference. Thanks for being here. Thanks for tuning in. Keep stacking. And remember, the raid never ends. Good night.